Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be listing off my top 10 favorite live albums. Now before I get into this, I want to mention that this is sort of a redo of an older video I did. One of the earliest videos I did on my channel was my top 5 favorite live albums, and that list is very much outdated. Everything had changed except for my number 1 spot, but yeah, I thought I just deleted that video. I thought, you know what, my list has grown and changed very much, so I'm just gonna do this is pretty much, again, sort of a redo of that older video. Anyway, so without any more hesitation, let's just get into it. Number 10 is, I have it here. Number 10 is Black Mass 30 by Archgoat. It's still the only Archgoat record I own right now. I will get the other ones eventually, but, you know, I have a huge list of things I want to get. So I will get, you know, the studio albums eventually, but, yeah, this live album is actually really, really good. I guess it's sort of a compilation live album because there's like 4 different live shows on here. One from 1989, one from 2004, one from 2009, and one from 2015. Yeah, great audio quality on every single live show. This is one of the very few compilation live albums that don't have a repeat of track listings. Every single song on every single show, for the most part, are completely different. So each show, even though there's 4 shows, they're all fresh and new. There's no one, at least from... yeah, I don't think there's any repeating songs on here at all, which is pretty good. But yeah, I absolutely love this live album. Alright, number 9. Number 9 is Tales from the Crypt from Halloween. Yes, Halloween, one of my favorite bands of all time. Not Halloween, Halloween. I still can't find any information about this live album. Not on Wikipedia, and not even on the Metal Archives. Still don't know anything about this. Although, except for what it says again. Recorded live at Harpo's, Detroit, February 18th, 1985. And, yeah, apparently this was a live recording that before ever getting on any physical format was broadcast over the radio. Yeah, this is during the classic era of this band. Of course, the classic era would be like, you know, 1985 to around 1986-ish. But yeah, there's some songs on here that aren't even on any of their albums, like The Right to Rock, Bitten by Fear, Tonight I'm Yours, In Love Again, Cry Out, Rats and Rock Dogs, You Can't Kill the Strong. Yeah, there's a lot of songs that, for one reason or another, didn't make it to any of their studio albums. And of course you get classics, hold on. Like I was saying, you get classics from their first album, What a Nice Place, which is, arguably one of, if not my favorite song from their debut. Yeah, you get What a Nice Place, What a Nice Place, To Fight the Beast, Don't Meddle with Evil, Scared to Death, Tales from the Crypt, and Justice for All. Oh yeah, and Trick or Treat. And then you get a couple songs from their, I guess what was supposed to be their second album. Victims of the Night. You get a couple songs from that album too. Children of the Witches, of course the title track Victims of the Night, Rest in Peace, and now it also has a live version of the song Candles, which was supposed to be on Victims of the Night, but wasn't. But then they later put it on Horrifier, the album that came after that one. It's a really good live album, although I will say the audio quality is kind of inconsistent at times. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's just okay. It even sort of fluctuates throughout, even not just the different parts, but also the different songs in the parts as well. So yeah, I mean it is a pretty good live album. I really like it, despite it, again, the one fault being the audio quality is not that good at times. But it's still a great live album, and it holds its own. I really wish there was some kind of information on this, because I really would like to know more about this, but it's sort of, I guess, lost to time, I guess. Or, not this, but the information about it. Anyway, number 8. Number 8 is Intermission by Dio. This is... I don't know if this is their best live album. It's either this or Finding the Sacred Heart. I don't know. I like both. I still don't have the other one though. I don't have Finding the Sacred Heart. This was recorded pretty much the same tour as that one, the Sacred Heart tour, but for whatever reason they released this, and then they released the other one years and years after. This is the only Sacred Heart era live album that was released at that time. And it's not even a full live album. It's not an EP, but it's close. If I remember correctly, the bonus track, Time to Burn, is not a live track. It's actually a studio track. So minus that one, there's like King of Rock and Roll, Rainbow in the Dark, Sacred Heart, We Rock, Rock and Roll Children, Man on the Silver Mountain, Long Live Rock and Roll. So yeah, there's like 7 songs, so I guess it's not really an EP, but it is kind of a short live album. Again, not including the studio track that's on here for some random reason. But with that, it's still a really good live album. I'll say it has the best version of Sacred Heart. Now, sure, I love the studio version of Sacred Heart, but this live version is 10,000 times better. And they even add sort of like, I guess they don't add a sound effect, it's part of the Mechanical Dragon. During the live version of the song Sacred Heart, during the part where the music kind of stops for a bit and Dio shouts, "Attack!" There's this roar of this dragon, and as you can see when he was on stage, he was kind of sword fighting the Mechanical Dragon. Now, the studio version does not have that roar. The studio version, it's just attack, and then there's this weird sort of muted sound effect that doesn't sound too good. But yeah, the live version I love because it has that extra bit where after he says attack, the dragon just roars, and it fits the song a lot better than the version on the studio album. But yeah. Also, I love the version of the song Rainbow in the Dark. Now, I do prefer the studio version from Holy Diver, but this live version is also really, really good. Just a really good live album. Alright, number 7. Number 7 is Abigail Live by King Diamond. From what I know, I think this is their only live album. Why? I don't know. Oh, no. There's one other one, I believe. I can't remember what it's called. I think it was called Songs for the Dead or something like that. But I think that is a... I don't know if that's a compilation live album or just standard live album, but I think that came out way, way later, like maybe a few years ago. But for the longest time, this is their only live album. And even though it was recorded in 87, it wasn't released till 1990. Now, the reason for that is because the audio was forgotten about. Like, King Diamond, I guess at one point stored the audio in a box in in his basement or something, just completely forgot about it for years and years. And until 1990, when he rediscovered it and made the audio into a live album. As far as the classic lineup goes, there is one difference. Michael Denner is not in this lineup. Instead, it's someone called Michael Moon. And he does a pretty good job, sort of like replicating Michael Denner's guitar bits. Yeah, I mean, it's still a really good lineup. And King Diamond is definitely at his sort of like apex, like he's sort of at his peak in this era. And yeah, just a really good. Also, I love how they add sort of like a combination. Now, it's not just the Abigail Tour songs, but it is songs from some Merciful Fate songs, some King Diamond songs, and like one that was only on a single, I think. Of course, you got the Abigail songs, Funeral, Arrival, The Family Ghost, The 7th Day of July, 1777, Abigail, The Possession. But you also get 2 Merciful Fate songs, Come to the Sabbath, and maybe there's only one Merciful Fate song. No Presents for Christmas was actually a single that was released, I think, before or after the Abigail album. And then you get a couple of a few Fatal Portrait songs. Of course, The Portrait, and The Candle, which The Candle is probably my favorite song from that first album. Anyway, but yeah, it's just a really good live album, and it's a miracle that it wasn't completely forgotten about. I'm so glad King Diamond eventually found the recordings, because if he didn't, and they were lost forever, there would be no Abigail live album, and I love this live album. Anyway, 9, 8, 7, alright. Number 6 is one I don't actually technically own an individual copy of, and that is the live album Live in Stockholm by Morbid. Now, yeah, sure, I have the compilation album, what was it called? Year of the Goat. I don't know why I forgot the name of it, but yeah, Year of the Goat. I'm too lazy to get the vinyl from my bottom shelf, so I'll just, get the CD version right now. And this, of course, Live at the Birken Garden. Now, on the compilation, it has a different name, Live at the Birken Garden. But the actual name of the live album, the individual live album, is called Live in Stockholm. Now, I don't know why they changed it for the, compilation album, but yeah. Live at the Birken Garden and Live at Stockholm are the exact same live album, just different names. And yeah, it's really, it is their only live album. Now, of course, there are live tracks, live in the Ultra in November and live in the Ultra in April, but they were never put into individual live album format. They're only on this compilation, whereas, again, Live in Stockholm, aka Live at the Birken Garden, was an individual live album. Now, I would own it, but unfortunately, at least from what I remember, I believe it was limited to 500 copies, the individual live album. And there was a listing on eBay, but someone bought it before I could, and now I don't know, it's just a shame, because I really wanted that live album, and I don't know when, if ever, there will be another chance to get one. But it's a very good live album. It is a little bit more raw audio quality than the December Moon demo, but it fits very, very well. Dead's performance vocal performance is great as always. Everyone else does a really good job, and there are a couple songs that were never on the December Moon EP, and so there's some pretty interesting tracks that besides that live album were never really recorded. Yeah, I absolutely love it. All right, number 5. Where am I? Yeah, number 5. Wait. Alright, yeah. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, I have this in the wrong order. Anyway, number 5 is Live Undead by Slayer. Now, originally I had this at my number 2 spot, the first, when I did that original top 5 favorite live albums, but it's sort of gone down a little bit. I still love it, but it's not my number 2 anymore. It's my number 5. Wait. Sorry. I think I lost track. Hold on. Oh no, I'm at number 5. Sorry. For some reason, first I thought it was number 4, but yeah, number 5. This is really the only official live album from what I call the classic Slayer era. What I mean is, 1983 to 1984. They, for whatever reason, anyway, for whatever reason, Slayer themselves really kind of ignore their early stuff. They would, back when they were still touring, they very rarely ever played anything from, Show No Mercy or Haunting the Chapel. Why? I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, they played songs like Antichrist, the title track to Show No Mercy, Chemical Warfare, and Black Magic. But everything else they really just ignored. I don't know why, and they never really released, an official live album with, like, majority of those songs from Show No Mercy and Haunting the Chapel, which is a shame, because to me, Slayer kind of started to go downhill after, I'd say after Hell Awaits. Now, Hell Awaits is great, and I do like South of Heaven, but kind of after Hell Awaits, Slayer sort of just went on a downhill spiral and never recovered. Now people would praise Rain in Blood, but that that album is overrated and 99% dull and forgettable, except for the title track Raining Blood. South of Heaven is good, but yeah, their early stuff back in the day, what I call the classic era, they were really, really good. They were untouchable. At that time, they were the best thrash metal band of all time. And to me, they still are, even if, the later stuff is not that good. Yeah, you get 7 tracks and then a bonus track on this version. Of course, you get Black Magic, Die by the Sword, Capture of Sin, Antichrist, Evil Has No Boundaries, Show No Mercy, Aggressive Perfector, and then the bonus track, which is Chemical Warfare. Now, one issue I have is the bonus track. It's not a live version. It's a studio version from the Haunting the Chapel EP. Why the hell would they slap on a bonus track that it's a studio version instead of a live version? I don't know. Now, if there isn't any live version of Chemical Warfare from that era, why not pick any other song that there was a live version to? Like, why not Tormentor or whatever? But anyway, minor nitpick of mine, but despite that weird flaw of the bonus track, I do love this live album. And also, I really like the cover. I do actually, it's on my shelf here, I'm not going to take it down right now, but I do have the action figure pack of the figures of, the zombified band members. Yeah, really iconic artwork as well. But yeah, I absolutely love it. It's kind of lower down on my list now because I have, there are other albums that I think are slightly better. But yeah. Alright, number 4. Number 4 is Face the fucking Slayer. Now, I just got this live album today, and I already love it. It's already my number 4 spot. Yeah, I mean, this is a bootleg, of course, but it's the only recording of their early 1983 live show, and there's no official version, unfortunately. But I love this live album, and I love the songs from that show. Like, you get Black Magic, of course, Die by the Sword, an early version of Tormentor, Simple Aggression, Blitzkrieg, which I guess, early version of the song Final Command, Ice Titan, Assassin, the Queensryche cover of Knight Rider, an early version of Cryonics, and Progressive Perfector. You get so many great songs, and some that you would never see on any other Slayer recording ever. The audio quality for this is actually really good, despite being in a bootleg. And yeah, it's just a great live album that I do believe is slightly superior to Live Undead. Alright, number 3. Number 3 is what I consider one of the greatest black metal records of all time, Live in Leipzig by Mayhem. This is the quintessential, besides I'd say De Mysteriis Dom Satanis, this is the quintessential Mayhem album. And it is one of the best performances of Dead ever. Now, I do slightly prefer his vocal performances when he was in Morbid, but in terms of Mayhem, this is him at his best. Very demonic growls, very just wraithy, sort of just eerie sounding vocals, and just full of just aggression and just sinisterness, and yeah, I love his vocals on here. And of course, everyone else does a great job as well. Hellhammer, great drumming. Necro Butcher, one of my favorite bass players of all time, does an amazing job on here. And of course, the asshole Euronymous does great on guitar. Yeah, and then you get a couple of live songs that were only on one other live album. I believe those were Buried by Time and Dust and Pagan Fears. But yeah, and the audio quality is really, really good. I don't know if this is remastered. But yeah, it sounds great. It sounds really, really good. Alright. Number 2. Number 2 is 98 Live Meltdown by Judas Priest. My favorite era of Judas Priest is the Ripper Owens era. And of course that's why this is my favorite live album by them. It's a very good follow-up to Jugulator. And it has one of the most diverse track listings of any Judas Priest album. You get great stuff from all their eras up until then. You get great stuff from their 70s stuff, their 80s stuff, and the 90s stuff up until here. And then you get stuff that aren't on most live albums of Judas Priest, like Bloodstained, Touch of Evil, Bullet Train, Death Row, Metal Meltdown, Nightcrawler, Abductors, and then I guess the Green Mental Ishii. Yeah, I mean, I love this because it's just a really, really good sort of, I guess, breath of fresh air. Because, like I said, most other Judas Priest live albums are very predictable in their track listing. But this, and even Live in London, are kind of unique and fresh and new because they sort of add again, the Ripper era stuff to the track listings, as well as some other, Judas Priest songs that you wouldn't usually see on their live albums, but yeah, just a very good live album, and Ripper's best live performances are on here. But yeah, that's at my number 2 spot. Alright, so, sorry, I almost revealed that. Number 1 is probably going to surprise people that are newer to the channel, that it's not, another one from this band, but it's this one. Next up, number 1, Made in Japan by Iron Maiden. Now, of course, most people would pick Live After Death, but I don't like that live album. I think it's super overrated, and Bruce's vocals are shit. But, although I would say my favorite live album with Bruce Dickinson would probably be Beast Over Hammersmith, which I do actually own, by the way, right here. Also, Iron Maiden, please release a vinyl of this live album, please. Yeah, this live album only ever was released on CD, but really would like a vinyl version of this. Anyway, but in terms of overall, I just love this one. Now, of course, this is the bootleg, but this is really the only version you could get the entire live show. The official versions are only like 4 to 5 tracks. I think 4 tracks with the Japanese version, and 5 tracks with the US and UK version. But yeah, in terms of the audio quality sounds super official. It doesn't even sound like a bootleg at all. It sounds very, very professionally recorded. It sounds great. Paul Di'Anno, I'd say probably his best live vocal performance is on here with the live version of where is it? Strange World. Yeah, I mean, come on, you can't get better than that live performance of that song. And then you get a lot of the classic Di'Anno era songs, Wrathchild, Purgatory, Remember Tomorrow, Another Life, Genghis Khan, Killers, Phantom of the Opera, Iron Maiden, Running Free. And then you get some interesting live versions of songs that you wouldn't really expect. Like, I've Got the Fire, and Twilight Zone, super underrated one, Innocent Exile, and Sanctuary. But yeah, I absolutely love this live album. It'd be really nice if Maiden one day released an official full version, because they do have the audio. They have the audio of the full live show. But for whatever stupid reason, they decided to cut it down to just an EP instead of a full thing. Why? I don't know, but it's very stupid. But anyway, yeah, I just can't get enough of this. I still want to get the official version, even if it's not the full thing, just because I want to have it on vinyl. But yeah, I absolutely love this live album, and it's at my number 1 spot of my favorite live album of all time. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.